Hi everyone, my name is Zakir Jalali. Today I will be talking to you guys about immigration, specifically why undocumented immigrants here in the United States should be allowed to stay and remain in the U.S. as opposed to being deported back to their home countries. Now, many of you in the audience may be thinking that immigrants are liabilities to this country and that they don't give anything back to this country and, things along those lines. I'm here to tell you today that undocumented immigrants, are actually assets to this country. And I'm here to explain how they are assets. And in fact, we may have serious economic repercussions if we were to get rid of a significant amount of undocumented immigrants that are currently here in the United States. So, the first thing I wanted to discuss was you would expect, if undocumented immigrants were to be deported, you would expect them to be, have some sort of criminal history or, wreaking havoc or, disrupting society here in the U.S., right? But according to an article in January of 2019, 439,000 undocumented immigrants were deported. And you know what's crazy? More than half of them had non-criminal violations. Think about that. Half of them were just here providing a better life for their families. They weren't causing havoc. They weren't being a menace to society. They were just here trying to make a better life. Can you imagine? Half. More than half. That's insane. Moving on. Another thing that, you might not have expected. Undocumented immigrants actually make up a huge portion of manual labor in this country. In the meat industry and the agricultural industry, they actually take on jobs that Americans are way too overqualified for. So if we were to get rid of all the undocumented immigrants, or like I said earlier, deport a significant amount of them, we could have serious problems because we wouldn't have people who would be working those jobs as, like I said, Americans are too overqualified for those jobs. Now, the first point that I wanted to talk about was, as we all know, COVID-19 has been hard on all of us, right? For the past 7 months, we've been quarantining, trying to stay inside our house, learning how to, do school and work remotely. It's been an adjustment for all of us, right? But undocumented immigrants actually make up a significant amount of quote-unquote essential workers. In fact, undocumented immigrants, according to the Agriculture Department, half of all farmers in the United States are undocumented immigrants. And to go off that, according to the League of United Latin American Citizens, 80% of workers in the meat industry are also undocumented. So just think about that for a second, right? So if we were to deport all these people, we are losing a lot of people, especially in a time where it is the job these people do is crucial for our economy and our survival, right? Imagine if we deport all of them. Our economy is already in a bad state because of the pandemic. Imagine how much worse it would get if we were to get rid of these people. And the info, regarding all of this is actually very recent. It's from a CNN article that was published in May of this year. So that this isn't like, in the beginning of the pandemic, there are this many people. No, this was like a couple months back, Another thing I wanted to bring up, the Center of Migration Studies actually estimates 19.8 million, excuse me, immigrants work jobs that were deemed essential during this pandemic, right? So, like I said, if 50%, about a little bit more than half, work in agriculture that are undocumented immigrants, and then we have 80% of people in the meat industry that are undocumented immigrants, imagine how many undocumented immigrants are deemed essential when the total is 19.8, right? So that's just something to think about, is that we have a huge demand for these undocumented immigrants. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the separation of families. Now, I know what you're all thinking. You've all seen it all over the news. Children being locked in cages and things like that. And although that is unfortunate, I'm not going to be talking about that aspect of it too much because we all know that. We've all seen that. But what I do want to talk about is currently in the United States, this article is from EBSCO Host Database, published in January of 2019. There's about 4.1 million undocumented immigrants that are parents to citizen children, meaning that their children were born in the United States. And when a parent of a citizen-born child is deported, the child is a lot more likely to partake in criminal-like behavior. Now, the reason this is significant, the reason I'm even telling you guys this, is because imagine if the parent that was undocumented, number one, they're probably there trying to make a better life for their child, trying to, flee from danger and things of that nature. Now, imagine if that parent had been allowed to stay, giving back to the economy, their child, instead of going down a criminal life or, engaging criminal life behavior, they can become something, do something with their lives and give back to society, as opposed to ending up in jail and contributing to, the prison overpopulation, which is a huge problem in our country at the moment, as I'm sure you all know. And lastly, the last thing I want to address are some solutions. Now I've told you how I feel. I've told you how, undocumented immigrants are very important in the workforce and things of that nature. Now I'm going to tell you a solution. And the solution is we need to call our local congressmen and women, and we need to ask them about a solution for a path to citizenship for these undocumented immigrants. Because we in the United States, our economy needs them. Without them, we will see serious economic repercussions. They take on jobs that, no one else would really do it. Like I said earlier in the speech, Americans are way too overqualified to even, do the kind of work that undocumented immigrants do. With that being said, thank you for listening. Hope you all have a great day.